Okay, first I'm going to apologize. I meant to get this to you weekly. I'm doing this now bi-weekly, so life. Anyways, doing my best. Anyways, I have let's see. I wanted to just kind of go where I'm at with the Developing Early Learner book. So obviously on the first book, and I am up to page 23. So, or actually 22. I don't think we did. Anyways, 22 or 23. Math, reasoning. Maybe I'm a little ahead on this. I'm not sure, but just up to page 25 on that. Letter wise, we are up to, and I guess I'll go over that first. So the letters we are up to is just started kind of the D's. So initially, what I did with her, she got very overwhelmed and just didn't want to do the letters and writing just because she's frustrated and doesn't really grasp the concept of writing the letters very well. That's probably her struggle with. Anyways, so I had to break it up in sequences, really starting out with the A's that I only had her do a few at a time, just so, because there were meltdowns. Anyways, and of course, I know this wouldn't happen at school, but I have seen last year the little bit of 4K she did do. The teacher did mention some things like, oh, she didn't really, or, they thought, they even thought she had a speech problem. Because she was trying to ask Kiara some questions and they were doing kind of like this testing thing and she didn't really know how to answer. So she wasn't really talking and then she was kind of doing gibberish because she was nervous. So obviously I know my daughter, which is the good thing. And I told her it was probably because of that. They still had her go see a speech person and clearly she didn't have a speech thing. Mom was right. It was because she was nervous and really didn't know how to answer it because she didn't know what she was doing. She gets frustrated. She's very emotional. So if she doesn't know what she's doing, she closes it up and just doesn't want to do it. So I had to revamp the strategy with definitely the A's. So I had to really draw, and this is the ones without the with any of the lines there. I did have to put the starting points for her to really get her to know where to start. Thought I heard something, sorry. So, and I always try to have her practice her name. So writing that. So she does, obviously you can see super large, small a, little k. So hopefully we'll make some progress there on keeping the letters proportion with each other. But that's work in progress. Anyways, like I said, I have to give her the starting points for the dots where there was nothing because she couldn't figure out where she needed to be with that. And then speaking of B, as you can see, really struggles just kind of staying on the line sort of thing. And what I do, obviously you see a star sticker. I would like to get scratch and sniff stickers for her. I think she'd love that. So anyways, I do that for her. So she, and I have her look too. So finding her best one basically. So I ask her, I go, I know which one is probably the best one for you, but can you look and see which one you really stayed on the lines for, just to put that concept back in your head about really staying on the lines with when she's doing her letters. And then of course, then the lines disappear and then she's like, what am I supposed to do? And how am I supposed to do this? So the B is, once again, I have to put the starting point for her. So she knows I have to start there. Otherwise she likes to start from the bottom a lot. That's kind of her thing. Always kind of coming up, always the bottom. So obviously this is reverse, but these are clearly, I just had to remind her about using the space of the green area for the B because she was struggling here in the beginning. And once again, kind of putting the starting dots for her on that because she still needs that. The C's, she did, I want to say she was less frustrated with the C's. There's obviously less to it. So that's probably why. But I'm really happy about having C come into play because C made her less frustrated. And I think now going forward, she's going to feel a little bit more confident in her writing. So, obviously not perfect, not all on the lines, but she wasn't having a meltdown, and she did all of it in one sitting where I didn't have to break it up for her. And then once again, we found her best one. Little C's, same thing. She whipped that up quickly. No frustration there. Then she went automatically into doing her own C's. And so you may find this kind of cute. She started putting her own dots where she needed to start. So if we can do that for now, I'll just remind her maybe a little bit later, but she did it herself. So I like she kind of took that initiative, like, hey, I need to start here, reminding herself. Obviously here she put herself up there, and then I reminded her that all the little C's are going to be in the green area. So she did really good with that, but it was really cute. She made her own starting dots. So D, she calls it the fat belly. So the D's have the fat belly. She did really good. Here's her name. Look, A is actually kind of they're almost all the same. So making progress in her name looking more cohesive in sizing. So there's her D's. So I wanted to go over that. The thing, I'm not going to cover all these papers for math. She did fairly good on the pattern things, circle, square, square, red circle, blue circle. She did, fairly good on that. She may have had one that she kind of blanked for a moment, but overall, I may have repeated it twice then. Once I repeated it twice, and I kind of had her say it with me at the same time then, the ones that she struggled with, have her say it with me as I pointed at the picture. And then, then she kind of fell into what came next. The triangle thing that, so pointing to the ones that are different, that was funny. So if I say, which one looks different in this row? Kind of blank and would point at the wrong one. And then as soon as I say, well, which ones look the same? She grasped that and went to the two that looked the same. Most of the time. There was maybe one, and that was the same with the squares. And should I be saying rectangle for squares? That's what I want to know. Because clearly for me growing up, we called these squares and we called these rectangles because they were not all the same side. This book just refers to everything as rectangles. So if you could let me know on that. Anyways, she struggled with pointing out what was different, but as soon as I said which two look the same, or which ones look the same, I did say which two look the same, so she knew she was looking for two, or which ones look the same. She got that, but so we'll see, this next week if there's more of that. I'll try to start out with what they ask and see if she gets it. And if not, then I'm going to ask her what looks the same. And then I'll recover and just say, so this one is the one that's different. So counting, she's fine with counting. There was one with the triangles and the rectangles on actually being able to draw it. So rectangle, fine, pretty good. Compared to her triangles, she really had a hard time with that. Identifying how many sides the triangles, corners of the triangles that was really hard for her. So to draw a triangle, because really drawing those straight lines, here it is not her thing. And this is also not her thing. Drawing, coloring in the lines. Did I do that too fast? Coloring in the whole picture. I don't know if it's because she's a very active child, but that's a hard thing for her. So just drawing, these perfect shapes. This was, of course, like last week, beginning of the week, nothing. But that other one with the square rectangle that she drew, it was great. So I think that's really my counting wise, what belongs with one another sort of thing. Oh yes. Last but not least, this will be shorter next week because I won't be doing all these. This game that, hey, there's all these things and we take it away, which one's missing? She does pretty good with that. So I may throw in twists here eventually, but I'll probably wait. So I try to get all these little things that are on there so we have exactly what's there. As you can see, pretty rainbow, but coloring, like I said, filling up that whole area is not her strong suit. And like I said, I don't know if it's because she's very active, but she has more patience to paint, but she does very abstract sort of painting, but she loves to just paint with colors and things. So there's coloring in the whole area, but she stayed, fairly good with staying in the section. So I guess maybe that's the key point there. Drawing lines, did fairly good there. I just had to remind her, just connect the dots. This one, she got confused because she was connect the dot there. So I said, remember to look at this picture. And then that's where she came on that. That one was a little bit trickier with the X thing. That one I really didn't have to instruct her at all. This one not at all. This one really not at all. It was the X one. So yeah, as you can see, just staying on the lines, that kind of goes with her letters. The things that belong to another, what belongs to one another, shoe and sock, she gets that. Once again, things that, which pictures are the same, she got that. But once again, you can see, hey, I'm not really going to color the whole picture. There was the outlining. There was another one like this, but hey, find the horses and outline them. It's really small areas. Definitely she was getting frustrated with having to do all of them. She clearly could identify that there was the 4 horses, and as you can see, that's her coloring. So that sums up 2 weeks. So I apologize. Other than that, just want some clarification. Do I just refer to squares as always rectangles, what's in the book? To just not get her confused and just go with the concept of rectangle until it really mentions anything about this is a square, which I don't think we're going to cover at all in 4K. So I'll just stick to maybe rectangle. I think that's the thing. I think that's about it. I don't know if I'm going to really I may have her do a little bit on letters, on writing her letters this week. I actually just kind of want to go over the, since I just got the all about reading, I'm going to do that with her. I haven't really been able to sit down and kind of really look at it, but kind of vaguely. But I did see that there was some really cute things with just going over the letter A, making these cute little art projects with the A and with the B. And we've got googly eyes and felt and pipe cleaner type things. So we are set with that. I may have her paint because I may have her paint a letter because she likes to paint. So, and we got a lot of paint. So other than that, I think that her thing is pretty good. Oh, I did want to cover this. She does really good with this concept, like just not bumping into those lines there and getting her to her ice cream. So she does good with that. So I think the big thing, we'll see what her letters going forward. Like I said, I don't know if I should really do any more on the letters this week. Maybe a little bit, but just kind of going over the letters that we learn and use the all about reading and do kind of some fun craft things with her. Activity wise, we're not going to have any issues with her not getting her minutes for her VIHED. Like I said, as she's very active, so a lot of what I see that she struggles with, her brother who is 16, who is second grade teacher's like, he has ADHD and did all these sort of things. I think more of it was just, they're both active children. And so for them to really, if it's quick and simple, I don't say simple, if it's shorter and more condensed, do better. And so I even know a middle school teacher that did that with my 16-year-old when he was in middle school. He did the same math, he just did a shorter amount and he knew the concepts. So I feel she's a little bit like him on that because they have that very similar active, because she fidgets like the whole time, like when she's doing things, not writing her letters so much, but maybe some of the others, but she definitely, I can see the fidgeting and biting on the pencil. I have the end of her pencils chewed. And so I think that is part to do with it, because there's so many similarities that I see with her, like struggling with writing the letters, staying really on the lines, really just kind of doing that. But she gets a lot of she gets the concepts. I'd like her to be able to recognize letters more than she did last year. She really recognized letters. I don't see us really going over numbers yet, so I'm a little bit, with recognizing what the number 1 looks like, what the number 2 looks like. And so my question for you then, I do know that there's the semester 1, here's your grading report card, what numbers do you recognize? And I haven't seen a lot yet on here's the number 1, here's the number 2, kind of the visual, besides like, there's a lot of holding up the fingers. Here's number 3, this is step number 3 you're doing, and they're using fingers. So I haven't really seen that. So I don't know when the, I don't know where my children get it from. I'm sorry, I fidget too much too. Anyways, we're just active. So I don't know if I should be too worried about the numbers as much. I did get that link, so maybe that is actually going to be very helpful. The one that had the math stuff and then the new little reading thing. So I just kind of pulled that up earlier today. And I think, we'll play around with that maybe a little bit this weekend. Maybe not too much. I have a wedding and I have college stuff to do, so I'm not sure how much I'll really get into it. So other than that, I think that sums it all up. Obviously throwing some questions there for you. And hopefully this video turns out well. And next week should be shortened. Yes. But anyways, it's coming along. I think she has more confidence on the letters. So that was my thing of just not having her be so frustrated, because she was definitely very frustrated. And then she gets locked down and anyways, have a great weekend. Thank you for watching this really long video. I promise, shorter next week.